Let's see what Bitcoin's doing. Bitcoin again pulling back off of the initial pop on it. Take a look at the intraday chart. And here was your high from yesterday right here. And there's your high from today. Doesn't mean we won't take out that high. But remember, this is into a major level of resistance. All right, guys, I'm going to do a few questions here now that we've gotten through the metals, we've gotten through the dollar, we've gotten through yields, we've gotten through the CPI data, we've gotten through Bitcoin. Some of you guys asking, is it still priced in that Bitcoin could still go down to the 12 to 13,000 target, maybe even 9,000? The answer is I'm going to get into Bitcoin. I know that's the big question of the day. That's what everyone is really excited about. All right, so I'm going to go right to that. Let's take a look at Bitcoin and look at this, guys. If you were here last week, we talked about this channel, this consolidation range. Where did I say Bitcoin could go? I said it could go to 30,500. What was the high yesterday? 30,500 and change. What are we doing today? We're holding basically flat on Bitcoin. All right, you guys know, if you know, I shorted some Bitcoin via buying BITI yesterday, nibbled a little bit on that, so far up on that trade. We're going to watch to see. This, to me, is the groundbreaking level. All right, so what I mean by groundbreaking level, and this is a very important concept, groundbreaking level is this is the Great Wall of China. This is the brick wall that has, that's 10 feet wide, whatever you want to call it. This level is a psychological major level. In addition, I saw someone mentioning it in the comments as well, is that keep in mind, the rally on Bitcoin has been on light volume lately. That's a concern. What that tells me is it's not big money buying. Not big money buying. You have to be aware of that. And that's something that, again, gets my attention as well. So, again, we should know over the next few days, maybe over the next 5 to 7 days, do we get above this level? Do we hold? In that case, then the low is in. All right. Now, it doesn't mean I'm going to go bullish and buy Bitcoin. That's ridiculous. You would never buy and chase a move like this. What it means is if you get a confirmed bottom in on Bitcoin at 15,700, then on pullbacks, you start to buy more aggressively. Now, last week, we also talked about BOIL or natural gas. I told you guys to prepare for a bounce on natural gas, guys, and take a look. We've already seen a nice move up here off of the lows. Nice little pop a couple days ago, a small move yesterday. Today, we're pulling back, but watch this level really closely. Look at this key level. So on this natural gas chart on TradingView, what I want you to watch is the $2.25 level. If we hold 225 on a closing basis, that remains very bullish for natural gas. If it were to get back below that, then you're more in a gray area. A gray area is essentially the midpoint of bullish and bearish, which is neutral. You want to see, does it have to trade back down to the lows, which would then become support, or can it recapture this trend line and start to break to the upside there? Okay. All right, so that's very, very important to see right there. And again, we'll continue to watch and see where that goes out. A lot of you guys probably saw that CPI number and you listened to CNBC and you're like, oh, it's a better than expected number. Holy cow, this is going to be the greatest thing for the markets. And then all of a sudden, markets are starting to fade here. Wait a minute, what's going on? I thought it was a good number. Remember, guys, you have so many things coming up over the next few days and next few weeks. Big money is not going to buy heavily into this number, especially when we've seen such a dramatic rise in the Qs. The NASDAQ 100 has gone from 285 to a recent high of 321. It's holding pre-market here, trading. What is it trading at? Let me see right here. 318 and change, or and even down to the 317s now, looks like, right in that vicinity. So again, yeah, 318.21 right now, pulling back just a little bit. Now it's still green on the day, but the question is, can it hold the green? Can it hold the green or not? Again, I am short the Qs. I'm short the S&P. Again, I got a tiny bit of my position short on NVIDIA there, only when it peaked above 275. Again, I like that even as a swing trade on the short side as well. The dollar, guys. So this is why the markets rallied, and now this is why the markets are giving it back. So number one, if we look at the intraday chart, look at this. All right, look at the drop in the dollar on the intraday 10-minute chart when that data came out. All right, why did it come? Why did the dollar drop? Well, the concept here is super simple. If inflation is dropping, then it means the Fed has to hike less. That means it potentially can even cut rates in the future. That's weak for the US dollar. Okay? Okay? So again, that's the key on why it dropped. Now, why is it rallying up? Now, notice that the markets rallied when the dollar dropped, and now the markets are pulling back a little bit when the dollar's rallying. So the dollar's getting a bounce. Number one, it was a big sell. So you generally get a technical bounce. Number two, just like I said, remember, if you look behind the curtains, there, the CPI data actually upticked if you strip out core stuff, which is food and energy. So there's still some little signs of kind of higher inflation in the system when you remove that food and energy from the calculation. All right, so again, how does this go? We're going to find out, but if the dollar continues to rally, markets should continue to come in, and we'll watch and see how that plays. Again, if we look at the daily silver chart, look at this insane move. Look at that move on silver. To me, this is a blow off top today. I want to short into it. You also have a lot of resistance coming into play here. Look at the silver chart here. If we put a trend line right here, look at how close we are to major resistance. You're coming right in there. You have more major resistance just above right here. Now, it doesn't mean I don't like silver on the longer term, right? I love silver on the longer term. I love gold longer term. But when we look at these commodities, they have gone parabolic. Gold a little bit, not as much in the recent days, of course, but silver's move is parabolic, and I want to pull the trigger. Now, why would silver pull back and maybe gold hold up better? The answer is very simple on this. All right, gold goes up when fear is there. Even in a recession, gold can go up. If we start to get recessionary numbers, if earnings coming out over the next month show us that a lot of these companies, and by the way, Warren Buffett was just on CNBC, and he said one of his retailers, their year over year sales in the last month were down 22% from a year ago sales. So we know that the companies out there, we know from the warning that was basically the downgrade for Microsoft. We heard from Apple, well, analysts on Apple recently saying that that people aren't going to be upgrading their phone. It tells me that a recession is coming. To bring it full circle around to silver, what do we know? We know that silver is also an industrial metal. Silver, again, in general, that will go down if we go into a recession, even if you have the offsetting of fear and panic. Let's see what Bitcoin's doing. Bitcoin, again, pulling back off of the initial pop on it. Take a look at the intraday chart. And here was your high from yesterday right here. And there's your high from today. Doesn't mean we won't take out that high. But remember, this is into a major level of resistance. All right, guys, I'm going to do a few questions here now that we've gotten through the metals, we've gotten through the dollar, we've gotten through yields, we've gotten through the CPI data, we've gotten through Bitcoin. Some of you guys asking, is it still priced in that Bitcoin could still go down to the 12 to 13,000 target, maybe even 9,000? The answer is, as long as we don't confirm and hold above 30,000, this 30,500 level right in this vicinity, the answer is yes. So again, that is still on the table. If we were to confirm and stay above there, then you have a different scenario where likely the 15.7 level, 15.6 level is a low pivot on the charts. On the intraday, notice again, what type of flag pattern is this? If you know your flags, you know that this was a bull flag. You had a big run up, then you have consolidation. Consolidation, let me explain this to you guys for those of you that are newbies here. When you have consolidation, think about it like this. You just ran a marathon from this point here all the way up to this point. That was a long marathon. You're exhausted. Could you go run another marathon? Probably not right away. It's the same concept why I'm intrigued by a short on the silver chart, because it's just run a marathon. In the very least, it needs to consolidate. Now, what oil did here after the marathon, it said, you know what? I'm going to run another marathon, but I need to chill out. I need to rejuvenate. I need to eat. I need to drink water. I need to kind of revitalize my body before I can run. And that's what it did over the last few days. Now it enables it to go up. The only negative here on oil, just to be clear, is that you have resistance right here, which you're hitting now. And then even if you get through, you have more resistance coming up right here. And again, if I zoom out, you can see this level. So believe it or not, if we get one more push in oil, I probably will look to short oil, probably north of $85 a barrel. If you look at why 85, why am I choosing 85? Not only is this pivot high right around 85 here, but look at all this sideways chop. Sideways chop means there's a ton of people that bought and there's a ton of people that sold. That's what creates sideways chop, buyers and sellers butting heads. Okay. Now, the key to that is understanding that when people butt heads, there's a bunch of new buyers that now have been out of the money since this period of sideways chop. When price gets back into it psychologically, a lot of them will say, okay, I'm now back to my break even on the trade. Therefore, I'm going to unload. That's what creates resistance. This level on Bitcoin is such a major technical level. And again, it's not to say that levels can't be broken. Levels eventually do get broken. The question is, do we have a pullback drop first off of this level here? And that's something I will be scanning and watching through here. All right. I see a bunch of people on the XRP train. I know we got Max RP over there. he's an awesome employee here. He's rocking the XRP as well. He loves it. So shout out to Max there. But bottom line is here, guys, XRP to me, short-term resistance, and I think he would agree with me. Short-term resistance was hit around 55 cents, 56 cents. You had that pivot top going back to September of 2022. It's pulled back. The only thing I have a little concern about is you're making a little bit of a bearish flag consolidation pattern over the last week or two. So again, doesn't mean there's a lot of downside. There's a lot of support around 47 cents, but it could have a little bit of a dip here, which also makes sense if we did see a pullback in some of these cryptos like a Bitcoin, Ethereum. Then you could also see that as a possibility. Let's look at Ethereum. Ethereum, again, continues to struggle here. Same thing. Even though Bitcoin recently took out its highs, Ethereum has not. So it is a little bit under pressure. Remember, you do have that fork. I think it's called the Shanghai fork coming up, and that could be creating a little bit of stress on some of those players out there unwilling to commit ahead of that fork in case. And this, by the way, this happens a lot with forks, is that people are nervous that something could go wrong, and so they usually step back. So you're going to lose a few buyers going into that event, which could explain why Ethereum is struggling just a little bit. Matic is not looking good, guys. All right, I don't know what's going on here, but the mere fact that it hasn't been able to get a bid when we've seen a lot, even Solana's gotten a bid now, that's problematic. It's just holding on to this trend line. If it breaks, there's not a lot of downside before it hits support, but that would be someone there as well.